about to go far. We about to go far.
Hello, everyone. Listen, my team rep Jesus. And let me tell you, I have my girl, I have my team here with me today. I have Flipping Faith, and we have a dynamic message for you today. Listen, we are excited about this word today. This show is a little bit different than our normal one, where we actually come on and bring and platform other people as we begin to see exactly what it is that they're doing in and outside of the kingdom. And so this right now, we just want to come and we just want to talk about the word. We want to fellowship. And so with that, I'm going to bring my girl on, Flipping Faith. Come on, Flipping. Let's see. Come on. All right, so I have my girl Flipping Faith on today, and she is going to teach us. She's going to bring us in, and we are going to talk about Exodus 1, chapter 1, verses 15 and 22. Here we go. We are going to talk about Exodus 1, chapter verses 15 through 22. And the message for today is moving in silence. Moving in silence. So Flipping Faith has prepared an awesome word for you today. So we're just going to conversate back and forth. You know, a lot of times we get on the phone and we talk about some of everything and other people, but are we actually engaging in conversations with people about the word of God? Are we actually gospeling and not gossiping? So today we're going to gospel. Today that's what I'm calling it. It's not the theological correct term of it. But once I say we're gospeling, that means we're not gossiping. We're actually going to sit here and we're going to talk about this word. We're going to talk about what is in the 66 books of the Bible. And so my girl Flipping Faith, hey, like I said, my team rep Jesus, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to sit here and we're going to discuss Exodus chapter 1, verse 15 and 22. So get your Bibles out, dig in, get into the conversation with us. You're welcome to communicate with us. And hey, let's get fed today. Iron sharpens iron. Come on, Flipping Faith. The mic is yours.
Good morning. First of all, for the clubhouse folks, y'all can't see me, but I got my militant jacket on because I'm ready for war. You know, it's been a week. It has been a week, baby. And so I got my fatigues on, but we don't fight like we used to fight. And that has been the thing that God has been showing me. He gave me a new fight, but baby, nevertheless, it's my winning season. So I just went through some things this past week. I've been sharing a little bit with you guys every Saturday. I've been sharing little pieces about me moving to Mississippi and how things were challenging and how God has been telling me to trust him nevertheless, in spite of everything that was going on. And so the woman who had brought me down and had gave me the apartment, she has started just doing some crazy things. Like she took the key. I told you guys that I was living in the apartment, did not have any a key to the house. God told me to trust him. In spite of it, I did. God kept me protected, staying there. Then she told me that she wanted me to find a ticket to send me back home by the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. God told me to keep pressing, moving forward. And so then it turns up last week, Saturday, y'all. She hit me up and she said that I wasn't going to have any lights that Monday. Now, the only way for me to get the lights in the apartment in my name is if I had a lease to the apartment. And I needed to speak to the landlord to say, hey, are you going to give me, can we work something out to where I can get a lease, whatnot. I only have limited amount of money. Actually, at that time, I had no money because I was still waiting for my first paycheck, and I didn't receive that paycheck until the second. And so she was like, you're not going to have any lights. Have you figured out anything? And I said to her, well, I told you I don't have any money. I get my first paycheck on the second. You told me I had until the first, that you were at least going to keep the lights on until then. I said, then I don't even get a second full paycheck, my first full paycheck on the 16th, but I was looking forward to using that for the rent and everything for January. She told me she was going to cover everything up until January. So I was preparing. And then she sent me another message that called me a bully. She said, I feel like you are trying to bully your way in on this situation. And I'm like, yo, hold up. Like when I got that message, I called her. And when I called her, because I was ready to let her have it at that point, when I called her, she didn't answer the phone. She texted me back and said, I'm on the phone. I'll call you back shortly. And I sent her a very detailed message detailing everything that she told me was going to happen when I came down, everything that I told her, and just detail everything. I said, how am I trying to bully? I'm not understanding this. And so, she called me, and I'm talking about she was going off on me, y'all. She was very nasty, disrespectful. It boiled down to her being jealous of a friendship that I had with someone else. When I say talking to me like a child, I said things have been so shaky that I've even started looking for another place to stay. She said, you got money for another place? You got money for another place? I said, I don't have it now. She said, right. So what you looking for? Right. And I was like, Lord, Lordy, you know, your child. So I think you might need to get her. But nevertheless, God always get me, because it's not about me controlling the other person or them behaving the way that I want them to behave. It's about how I respond. Right? It's about how I respond. So God always gets me. And so God had told me to move forward and apply for the apartments. Now I said, God, my credit score is not good. I haven't even received the first paycheck for the job that I'm working in. And he said, apply. And I said, and God, the rent over there is $1,300 a month. I can't really afford it. God said, I can't really afford it because the things I'm trying to build with this business. God said, did I ask you about the business? And I said, no. He said, can you afford it? I said, yes, God, I can afford it. He said, apply. So now I go to apply for the apartment, and they need a $50 application fee, and I have $11 in my account. So I said, well, God, can't apply for it. I don't got the $50. And I said, God, I'm gonna be honest with you. If one of my friends cashed at me $50, I ain't gonna spend that money on that apartment, because I have things that I need and I don't have any money. And so God said, after I said that to God, my Chime card, which I do not use at all, I haven't used it since January. I don't use my Chime card. I never received money from it from anybody. Notified me that I just received a $50 deposit from somebody named Damien. I don't know a Damien. I don't know not a Damien. I don't use Chime. I was really confused when the notification went across the top of my screen. So I said, okay, God, I hear you. I have to, this ain't even my $50, Lord. This your $50. So I'm going to do with it what you want me to do with it. And I applied for the apartments. And so after I did that, I was really frustrated and just going through some things, and I'm walking, and I'm very transparent in my ministry. I talk about everything that I go through. And not talking about people, like how Tish said. She said, we don't gossip, we gospel, right? And so I share my story with people for people to see where I am and how God is calling me to navigate through. Not to talk about other people, but to shed light on me and how I'm supposed to move forward as Christ is leading me. And so I went to go post something on Facebook, and God said no. And then I went to go do a live. I always do lives and share my story and where I'm at. And God said no. He said, if you want to talk to somebody about it, call Tish. And I'm like, God, I don't want to put Tish in my business like that. You know, we cool or whatever, but you know. And God says, call Tish. So I called Tish and I shared with her everything that God was saying to me. And I shared with her how God is having me in silence. And I said, I don't want to be silent not to offend her. I want to be bold and courageous. And Tish was like, Denise, it's not even about that. She said, this is our season of moving in silence. She said, the word that God is giving you is the same word that he's given me. And right then, God began to speak to me about the midwives in the book of Exodus. And so that's where we are going to go. That Sunday, I received an approval letter really quickly. I received an approval letter for the apartment, and that Sunday, and I'm just waiting for a place to stay. But I want to start right here, and then I'm going to share some more of this story with you. So in verse 15, it says, the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Sephora and Puah, when you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on the delivery stool, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him. But if it is a girl, let her live. And I want to stop right here for a second because I want to dive into some things. The king was upset because he knew he were beginning to see how the Egyptians were multiplying. So he began to be fearful of what they would be able to produce and what would happen if they continued to outgrow the Egyptians. See, the Hebrew women were popping out babies left and right, but on top of that, these boys were strong. They were mighty. They had stature. And so the Egyptians feared them. So in order to stop what he feared was going to happen, what he feared, what he thought was going to happen, nothing had actually took place. He seen the potential. Listen, let me tell you something. He seen potential that they probably didn't even see in themselves. He seen potential and began to fear the potential. And so in efforts to try to stop what he feared or what he perceived or what he thought, he wanted to cut it down at the root. He wanted to cut it down at the root. So he gave this instruction to these women who were servants to not only the Hebrew women, but and servants to God, but he wanted them to be servants to him. So he pulled them to the side and said, hey, here, listen, this is what I need you to do. I want you to kill these boys, stop them before it can even have a thought. I want you to cut it off at the root so that I can remain in control and power over these people. And so I'm going to pause right there and I'm going to pass the mic over to Tish because I know she ready to go. She don't even got war clothes on, but she looked like it. She looked like she ready to go. Go ahead, Tish.
Listen, I got my hair tied up and my earrings are easy to detach right now. Come on, y'all. Listen, I'm ready for war. Like the famous Pastor Troy, I'm ready for war. Okay, anyway. So listen, verse 16 gets me, right? Verse 16 gets me, says, when you're helping the Hebrew women doing the childbirth on the delivery stool was basically just two rocks that they had sat up on, right? So that was their delivery stool. I need you to go with me. He said, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him. But if you see it as a girl, let her live. So once I was thinking about this and I read this, I began to think about, like, with my husband, right? My husband's side of the family, my son is the only one right now that will carry on the name Shearer. It is no other male child with the last name Shearer besides my son right now. That's on his close immediate family or whatever. So the last male child for Shearer in his family is my son. So sometimes what happened is they don't want you to carry on the vision. They don't want the lineage to go forth. They don't want what you have on the inside of you to be able to produce and continue that name going forth. So sometimes they say, if you see that it is a business, then kill it. If you see that it is a book, then kill it. If you see it as a conference, then kill it. If you see it as a ministry, then kill it. They want to kill what is on the inside of you once they see that it is something that can produce and begin to bring something on. They didn't care about the girl. Listen, sometimes they don't care about your house. They don't care about the fact that you got a car. They're not trying to kill your car. They're not trying to kill your house. They're not trying to kill the fact that you get an education. What they're trying to kill is the one that can carry the name forth, the one that is going to bring forth the name of Jesus Christ, the one that is about to give him glory. What they're trying to kill is the conference. What they're trying to kill is the book. What they're trying to kill is the business. What they're trying to kill is the purpose that is in you. And so because they want to kill that or whatever, I'm telling you, he said, they said, if it's a girl, let it live. Satan don't care about certain stuff. That's the same thing with our mind. You know, I'm big for his mindset shifts, right? If you see that they're shifting their minds, kill their minds, destroy their minds, because once their minds begin to transform, once their minds begin to shift, then they're going to produce something greater. See, because though we say, oh yes, the one that produce or whatever, we have to understand it at first comes through the male, right? So it comes to the male. The male is what impregnates the woman. And so with that, I don't need you to impregnate nobody else. I need to kill you where you are. I need to kill you from being able to produce greater. I need to kill you from being able to carry this thing out into the nations. I need to kill this thing. And you know what? Let me stop. But let me tell you, I want to stop for a quick. And let me prophesy that whatever it is that you are trying to birth right now in this season, that it will not be killed, that it will be produced. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet. Flipping faith, I'm gonna toss that mic right back to you.
You know what? As you begin to talk about what is trying to kill, it wants to kill your confidence. It wants to kill your faith. It wants to kill your boldness. It wants to kill your ability to move forward. If it can make you shrink back, if it can make you second guess yourself, it can make you become just fearful and be even. If it can't get you to stop and turn around and go back, it wants you to be stagnant, because still there is no productivity. But God says, listen, I got a plan for you, baby. I got a plan for you. Come on, let's go to the next text. He says, I got a plan for you. So now, verse 17 says, the midwives, however, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. I want y'all to hear this. They let the boy live. They feared God. God was greater to them than the Egyptian king. So they did not do what he asked, and they let the boy live. That's really important right here, because I'm going to come back to that. Then the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, why have you done this? Why have you let this boy, the boys, live? Do you want to stop here, or could we go to the next? Because this juicy. You want to give it a second? Tish, how you feeling? Okay, come on. Okay, go ahead, Tish.
Let me stop. Let me chime in real quick, right? Says the midwives, however, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do, and they let the boys live. Listen, some people will try to use you as a pawn to turn around and kill somebody else's dream. Some people will use you as a pawn to destroy something else that is in somebody else. The enemy will use you as a pawn. He will use you as a voice into someone else to be able to kill their dreams. Or one, because he know that he ain't bold enough to do it himself, first of all, but he goes out and he put people on assignment. And some of us have been placed on assignment by the enemy just to have one word, because sometimes it is just one word that you can say that will turn somebody around. Once you get someone's voice, and I just seen Papa say you get someone's voice in the room that you value. I get Betty to come in and say, you know what, that vision's too big. I don't think you should be doing it. You're doing it wrong. Or if Dr. Indy come in and say, you know what, I see what you're doing, but you need to pipe that down. You need to calm it down a little bit. He will use somebody to turn around and kill your vision. Some people are called to be on assignment to be a midwife to abort what he has given you. And so because they feared God more than what they feared the king. And so a lot of times, once we get into conversations, unfruitful conversation with certain people, we'll allow them unfruitful conversations to and carry it back, and then we begin to destroy and kill somebody else's vision, kill somebody else's dreams, kill somebody else's promise or hope or their faith in what they're believing for. And so we have to learn to be quiet and not move so hastily. And so this is what I think about here. It's like when they said, I feared God. And so sometime before we open our mouth and speak on certain things, we have to say, hold on, let me consult with God and let me see if this is what God is telling me to say to this person. Is this what God is telling me to say? Because if not, we're going to kill their dream. We're going to kill their boy. We're going to kill the thing that is supposed to go out and produce. We're going to kill that thing that is supposed to go out and bring life. And it says, then the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live? Listen, we get afraid to be questioned. We know we always say, oh, you got to stand flat-footed on the gospel, flat-footed on the word, and I'm doing what God. Are you actually doing what God said? Or are you doing what man said? Are you scared to open up your mouth because you don't want to be questioned by who you value, whose voice that you value? A lot of times we're valuing other people's voice and I say it all the time, because the reason why I say it, because I'm guilty of it myself. Sometimes I value other people's voice. I put more value on somebody else's voice, on somebody else's opinion, and somebody else's instruction instruction on that of what I know that God had told me to do. And I have to go back and repent to God for it because I don't be obedient to them. And see, once we end up doing that, we end up being disobedient and we'll end up killing what God is trying to birth. We'll end up killing and destroying that very thing that God is telling us to push forth. We're going to end up killing that same thing that's supposed to go out and produce what it is that he has told us to do. With that, Flipping Faith, I'm going to toss the mic back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Listen, I want to touch on what you just talked about. And sometimes it's not even the voice of other people. It's our own thoughts. Sometimes it's the thoughts that are in our head, because guess what? So many people have talked to us so often that we no longer need their physical voice to be speaking of us to us. It's already embedded within our minds. Or we've then come through so many different situations and circumstances that we are already looking at it through the lens of hopelessness. And I just want to identify when I was in this situation, and I'm still not all the way out yet. God still has me silent. When I was in this situation, I wanted to shrink back and just go back home. I wanted to. But guess what? When we talk about this word fear, it's not even that trembling fear. I'm afraid of God. It's that reverence. God, I trust you greater than these people. I'm not going to be moved by what they are saying. I'm going to be moved according to your will. So even when I'm sitting in her house and she told me to look for a plane ticket to go back that Tuesday after Thanksgiving, God said, you're going to stay planted, flat-footed, because we got work to do right here in Mississippi. There's somebody who I'm connected to, the person that she does not want me connected to. She's my partner in ministry. She's building some things, and I am the hands that God is using to help build. So if I was to shrink back, and if I was to run back because of how she felt, how am I supposed to midwife and help her birth what God is calling for her to bring forth? Sometimes it's our own thoughts. Are you so consumed with yourself? Are you so consumed with your life? Are you so consumed with the worries of today that you can't be focused on the present in order to continue to push forward? We have to push regardless of what's around us. When the baby is ready to come forth, we don't get to say, no, honey, stop. No, we got to push. We got to go. It is birthing season. It is time to produce. It is time to bear fruit. It is time to give birth to life. It is time to move some things forward. That baby gonna say, ready or not, here I come. And are you gonna deliver where are you gonna be where you're supposed to be to deliver what God is calling you to deliver? Or are you afraid and allowing even your own insecurities and your own fears to be bigger than the voice of God in your life? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? And I know a lot of times I've even found myself afraid. I knew that I had to stand flat-footed on what God spoke, but I did not want the questioning to come from the person who was putting the pressure on me. Oh God, what I'm gonna say when da-da-da-da-da-da? What's gonna happen when they find out da-da-da? What is they gonna do? What you worried about it for? It ain't your battle, baby. All I need you to do is be ready. All I need you to do is be ready, because I got you. When God told me, he said, put that application in for that apartment. God, I can't afford it. Well, he sent me the money. Now you ain't got no excuses. I applied for the apartment. My credit score is crap, y'all. My credit score is crap. I put it in Saturday night. Sunday morning, I got the email saying you've been approved. Sunday morning, I got the email saying you've been approved. Because it's not about me. It's not about me. My position is to be obedient regardless of the voices that's in my head saying you're not going to get it. You think they're going to give it to you? You ain't worked since 2019. You don't even got a paycheck. What? She said it to me. She said, do you got money for an apartment? Right. Then what you doing? She said it. I already had the insecurities and the doubts in my head pertaining to it. But God said something else. So what you gonna do? You gonna believe the voices of the enemy, and I'm talking about the enemy that's outside of you, and I'm talking about the enemy that sometimes is your inner me. What voice you gonna believe? Yeah, so the question that came, right? So now here they are face to face. They face to face with the king. Oh, wait, you said, hold on, go ahead, sis, go ahead, baby.
Hold on. Let me grab this real quick before we hit to this next verse. Like another thing, once it comes to the talking, and this is one reason why, as we said, you have to move in silence. The reason why you have to move in silence, because a lot of times, as you see here, he said, "Why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live?" Listen, we spend too much time trying to justify and validate our own thought process and questions to somebody else. Listen, quit justifying yourself to people that don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. Hold on, I'm gonna run that back for you one more time. Quit justifying yourself to people that do not have a heaven or hell to put you in. Once you have already know that you are following the mandate that God has placed on you, once you're following the instructions, you don't have to justify, you don't have to answer or give an account to anyone of why you're doing it this way, or why haven't you did it this way? Why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live? Why have you went ahead and birthed the book anyway? Why have you birthed the vision anyway? Why have you birthed the conference anyway? Why have you birthed the business anyway? Why have you done it? Why have you let it live? How come you didn't kill it once it was in the first trimester? Why did you allow this to get all the way to the third trimester? Why have you sit there and let this thing to grow to where it is no choice but for them to push? How come you didn't kill it? How was it? How come you didn't do all the little tricks and stuff to try to abort it? Why didn't you kill it? But quit having conversations with people looking for validation. Quit having conversation with people looking for approval. Quit having conversations with people looking for hand claps, looking for attaboys, looking for well done, or so, because your well done, good and faithful servant should be coming from one person. But a lot of times we go out and we're looking for other people, and so we're loud mouth once we move. We come in the house and, hey everybody, you know I'm here and da da da. No, be quiet. Come on, where Carolyn at? Tell them, shut up. You have to shut up sometime. Move in silence. Everybody don't need to know your movements. Everybody don't need to hear you once you walking. Take them high heels off, quit clicking and clacking and stuff, and letting them know that you walking in the thing. Start moving in silence. Move in silence. Be quiet. Quit giving answers to people that you don't owe answers to. But you wouldn't have to give them an answer if you wouldn't have told them certain things or let them in your business in the first place. I remember one time, and it was years ago, and we were struggling, and so me and my husband, we went to a family member, right? And we needed help. We needed assistance. And we stayed on the phone, kid you not, I want to say it was at least an hour, if not longer, explaining to this person how we ended up in a situation that we was in, why we needed help, this, that, another. This person had like 50 million questions for us. We're answering all of them just for him to say, well, no, I ain't got it because I'm going through this, that, another. But he was just being nosy. I don't know what it was. Listen, a lot of people, they aren't there to help you. They just want to be nosy. They just want to know your business so they can go back and talk about you to other people. And they did this, that, and another. Quit giving people your information. Be quiet. Move in silence. Everybody, you don't owe an answer to everybody, but you wouldn't have to have the conversation in the first place if you did not allow them to know exactly what your position was anyway. You know what? Move stealth mode. Go fly below the radar. That's how you fight some of these battles, or so, because you're allowing them to see that you're coming miles away. And so they have time to prepare the attack and plan the attack on you. But if you come in stealth, they don't see you coming. And so they don't see it until it's out there. Anyway, I'm going to mute. I'm going to go back and we're going to go ahead and go over to the next verse. I'm going to toss the mic right back to Flipping Faith.
Glory to God, child. You got me excited. You got me excited over here. Y'all got me excited. Come through. So let's go on. Let's go on to verse 19. Verse 19 says, the midwives answered Pharaoh. Oh, come on. Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwives arrive. So God was kind to the midwives, and the people increased and became even more numerous. When I read verse 19 and 20, God said, sin justified. And I said, hon, he said, sin justified. So we're always talking about, oh, God doesn't like a liar. God doesn't like a this. God don't da da da. These women, they did let the Hebrew boys live. They definitely did. They came. The women did not give birth. When we look back at the scripture beforehand, it says that they let them live. But when the women had to go face to face, they had to act oblivious. They had to act oblivious so that the forward motion can keep moving forward. It was a part of the program. It was a part of the process. So they were not disciplined for telling the king, no, they're vigorous women. They give birth before a wife. No, actually, they were honored because of it. They were honored because of it. They were honored because of the whole entire process. And it says God was so kind to them because of their heart posture. We keep looking at, when we look at commandments and we look at laws, they're often used to oppress or to trap people. When God set laws and commands in place to produce a certain nature from your heart, these women heard in what they did, and even saying these women are vigorous. They're giving birth before we get there so that no one received any consequences related to it. He says sin justified. He says sin justified. He says, and I'm going to honor you because of how you moved. I'm going to honor you. And he said, and the people, God was able to continue moving forward the purposes and the plan because the midwives did not allow their emotions or their thoughts or their feelings or what they even thought needed to be done or said to get in the way of what they needed to do for God to move forward his purpose and his plan. And so God was kind to the midwives, and the people increased God's purpose. It couldn't be stopped. It increased, and it became even more numerous. And there's a next text that I want to go to, but I'm going to pause right here, and I'm going to let Tish have this real quick because I'm excited, y'all.
Listen, I'm gonna try not to get carried away right here because this is the one to make you get up and run. So listen, he said the midwives answered Pharaoh. The midwives answered Pharaoh and said, the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. Listen, you are not like the other women. He said they are vigorous and they give birth before the midwives arrive. Listen, once I read this, I had to prophesy to my own self. And so I'm going to release what I prophesied to my own self over everybody right now. I prophesy right now that the ones that have been sent to kill and destroy your vision, to steal, to kill and destroy what you're birthing, that they arrive late, that they will not make it to you on time, that by time that they arrive to you, that the umbilical cord will already be cut and you will already be swallowing that baby in your hand. I prophesy right now in the mighty name of Jesus that whoever is sent to destroy you or to kill what it is that God have given you to birth in this season, that they will come distracted on the way, that they will get lost on the way, that as they begin to make it to you, that they will have to stop and they will stumble in the path. And so that once they make it to you, once they arrive, that the thing that they were sent to kill will have already been birthed. It ain't going to be nothing that they can do about it. It's nothing that they're going to be able to do to stop what it is that God have told you to birth in this season. And so I feel like even the Hebrew women, even if this statement was true, right? This is how I can't even say that they actually lied. I believe maybe they took their time getting there. Some people I pray that they take their time getting to you. They take their time getting to us. That they think that, hey, it's not going to take off as fast as it's going to take off. That the vision ain't going to birth. That the business not going to grow as fast as it. Once they see that you just got the name of the baby. Once they see that you have just given the baby a name. Once they see that you had just given the business the name, that you just got it trademarked, that they don't even realize that you already got pre-order sales already, that they don't even realize that you already got a lunch date of people that's going to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm already standing in line. The doors of the building has not been open. The ribbon cutting ceremony hadn't even been planned, but I'm already ready to buy my products, that I got stuff on back order. Listen, that is what I speak over each and every last one of us right now that is listening, that is under the sound of my voice, that whoever is coming to destroy you, that they are going to arrive late, that what you have been giving to birth in this season will already be birthed forth, that it will already come forth, that it will already come up out of you that that it'll already have its first cry before they even arrive to you, that it shall go forth. And so he said, so God was kind to the midwives, and the people increased and became even more numerous. Listen, a lot of times people don't care about exactly who you are. They don't care about you growing. They just don't want you to increase and become even more numerous. They don't want you to increase and come better than what they are. They don't mind you succeeding. They just don't want you to excel and succeed past them. They don't want you to go forth and be greater than them. And so they try to keep you in a place called stuck. They try to keep you stagnant. They try to kill bits and pieces of you. They try to chop your head off. They try to chop your left leg off or your right arm off to keep you stagnant, because they don't want you to grow beyond a certain level. They don't care about you existing. They just don't want you to increase. They don't want you to outshine them. They don't want you to outburst them. They don't want you to outgrow them. They don't want you to outproduce them. They don't care about you having a business. They just don't want your business to get more sales than what you. And so this is another reason why we have to move in silence in such a season now as we are. And a lot of times we are, like I said again, we're loud. We're telling everybody you're pregnant, and I'm pregnant now. We sounding like what's the name from Color Purple? I'm married now. No, we're walking around talking about, I'm not pregnant now. I'm pregnant. No, be quiet. Hide your pregnancy. You better put on a big sweater or something. Hide them babies. Hide them babies, because it's people out set to kill what God has told you to birth. I say that, I mute my mic.
So now, oh, come on, y'all. I'm excited. This is good stuff. I want to right here share a little bit more about the story that took place. So God had told me not to get on Facebook Live, not to post anything. He said, you want to call and talk, you want to talk about it, call Tish. So I was like, oh God, I don't want to put Tish in my business, Lord. So I call her, I'm walking to work, and I share with her everything that had happened, and everything that was taking place, and it wind up being a word. She said, oh my God, this is a word that I need for myself too, about the silence, and boom, boom, boom. We get off the phone, and after God shows me, go ahead.
I don't know if y'all caught that there, right? So what happened was, she didn't call to talk about something. We called and shared the word. And a lot of times we get on the phone, and though we're going through a certain situation, we turn that situation and we miss the message out of it because we're being messy. And so sometimes we confuse actually telling our story, getting a message out of it, to being messy. And so what happened is, she called me not to be messy, but she called me to deliver a message. She called me to tell me exactly what it was. And if I was a messy person, then I would have brought mess out of it. Who are you talking to in this season? Once you're not in silence, what he do tell you to open your mouth. Are you talking to the right person? Are you talking to someone that is going to help you bring a message out of the mess? And so a lot of times we get on the phones with and have conversations with people, and then they start being messy, and they go ahead and start feeding into your flesh that you're already feeling, that you're already trying to subject, the one that you're already trying to yield up or whatever. And they feed that. So you have to know how to get on the phone with people that is going to feed the message, that's going to feed your spirit and not your flesh. I'm sorry, I had to chime in real quick, and I'm going to mute my mic and behave.
Oh, that was life. That was life right there. That was life. That was everything. And so even the when you get on the phone to tell it, what spirit are you in when you get in on the phone to tell it? Are you telling it from a perspective of uplifting and building? See, I was hurt. I was frustrated. I needed to share the story. And it wasn't in a way of trying to gossip. It was the gospel. This is what I'm going through. And God is showing me this. And he's telling me to be quiet. And and she says, hey, baby, that's the word right there. She said, not only for you, but for me too. Because you don't even know what some things that's happening with me. And this is the message that God is even delivering. That while he's delivering this message to you, he's delivering this message to me. So when we get off the phone, when I get to work, I say, okay, I tell her, I said, okay, the teaching Saturday, I know this is going to be the message. I have to wait for God to give me the text. So we get off the phone, and then I sent her. God is so good. I sent her the text, this story. This is the story God was showing me, so I sent it to her. And so as soon as I released what God has showed me, I received the text. And I received the text from this woman that said, I found a flight for you for cheap. It was Frontier Airlines. She found a flight for me, and I found an Amtrak ticket for $214. Be ready November 30th at 2:45 because I'm sending you back to Buffalo. Go ahead. Come on, Tish.
Listen, you can't allow somebody to push you out of position before it's time for you to move. And so what happened in this thing was that this lady was trying to push her out of position before God had told her to move. God told her to go to one place. God had opened doors for her to move to one place. And the lady decided, hey, I need to push you out of your land of Canaan. I need to push you out of where God has told you to go. Let me push. I'm going to make it easy for you. And I'm going to make it easy for you. And I'm going to provide a ticket for you. I'm be ready at such and such time, and I'm going to send you back to a place that God had just delivered you from. Don't you allow nobody to send you back to a place that God had delivered you from. Once God has told you to shift, once God has told you to move, don't you allow nobody to say, I done bought you a first class ticket. I done bought you an Amtrak ticket. I done bought you a ticket that's going to leave first thing in the morning and send you hightailing on up out of there. You stay put, you stay planted, and you trust on what God has told you to do. Don't allow nobody to send you from a place that or send you back to a place that God said, I'm delivering you from, that I'm bringing you for. Don't you go back into your Egypt. Don't you go back into a place of slavery over something else. I'm trying to be quiet. I'm trying to contain myself, y'all. This is Flippin's teaching right now. I'm trying to be, I'm telling you, but I'm on fire. I'm gonna be quiet.
Oh no, this is a word, baby. This is a word, baby. This is a word for somebody, for everybody. This is a word. Come through, all the way through. And so she says, I'm going to get this ticket. So when I seen it, my emotions almost, y'all hear that word, almost, because almost doesn't count. It said my emotions almost superseded my intelligence. My emotions almost superseded my intelligence. I got angry. I was on fire. Now, I hadn't told her that I had plans to move anywhere or that I got approved because God told me to be quiet. So I never gave her any information, but she began to feel within herself, I got to get her out of here before anything can move forward. And so she gives me a date and a time, and I am furious and I want to respond. And God is like, silence. And I'm like, oh God, this lady don't know who I am, Lord. I'm gonna have to give her a teaching. I gotta let me at her. I'm feeling like Scrappy Doo. When they be holding them back, he be like, let me at him, let me at him, let me at him. I'm gonna add her, Lord. I won't add her. And God is like, silence. And so I screenshot the message. I sent it to Tish. I sent it to a couple people that's on my team. I sent it to my team. And I got one response that, first of all, when I say Tish came through with the get through, she was like, hey, listen, tell her this, that, and the third. I'm like, I can't. I can't. If I can't say nope, I ain't gonna say nothing. So finances wind up coming together for me to leave and go stay at a hotel, to leave out of her apartment and go stay at a hotel for a week. And so I was like, you know what, Laura, she said the 30th, today the 28th. So I'm going to stay in the apartment till the 30th. Like, how about that? And God said, it's not worth your peace. The petty is not worth your peace. The petty is not worth your peace. I'm providing it for you. Get on up and out the way and be done with the situation. But sometimes we are so consumed with our emotions and how we feel that we want to prove a point. And God says the petty is not worth your peace. It ain't worth your peace. So I called the hotel back and said, I'm not going to come in on the 30th. I'm coming in tonight. And so I get to, as soon as I get off from work, and I got all of these things in my head that I want to say to this woman, right? All of these things. But before I leave, and this is where God began to show me Hebrews 19 even heavier. I got a message. I sent her a message. I said, I was honest. I said, well, I knew I wasn't leaving at this point. Okay. I said, well, the Amtrak ticket would be more accommodating for my, because I came with a whole lot of stuff. Frontier ain't gonna let me get it. I took Southwest, baby. I got 2 free check bags of carry-on and personal, and I stuffed that in such a way to make it to Mississippi. And I've accumulated more things since I've been here within that less than a month. So I knew it wasn't gonna accommodate me. So I sent the messenger, said the Amtrak would be more accommodating. In my mind, when I sent that, it's the truth. It is the truth. But I wanted her to go ahead and buy that ticket. Lose out on your 200 and whatever dollars you trying to spend to to give me a ticket back home. Well, I messed around and showed Tish that message. And Tish was like, Denise. She said, tell her. She said, tell her thank you, for the boom, boom, boom. And she said, well, the lady had said to me, she said, if we can figure out a way that's going to accommodate the both of us, I'm willing to listen and consider it. I said, Lord, this lady want me at it. Let me at it, Lord, let me at it. And Tish said, tell her to give you some time to think on some things and you will get back to her. There wasn't nothing that I needed to think on, so I did not want to send that message. But God told me, and this is why I wind up sending him, God said, I need you to buy time. He says, I need you to buy time. The way that she was moving was like a roaring lion seeking whom it may devour. Like things was getting really intense. And God said, I need you to buy time, not buy time as far as days, but not to have to go into a head-to-head confrontation with her. He says, so I need you to send that message and let her know I will get back to you once I get off from work as I ponder some things. He said that is going to give you enough time to gather your things and move out of the way. Go ahead, Tish, let you have that, honey.
So that's where I was thinking once it came to in the verse 19, right? He said that they was vigorous and they gave birth before the midwives arrived. So with her sending the text message of saying, give me time to think on it and I will let you know after work, it gave her time to get there, move all her stuff and get into proper position. It was able to buy her time. And so the midwives, that's the reason why I think they took their time getting to the Hebrew women. Now I understand where you got the Hebrew at, that they took time getting to the Hebrew women, are so allowing them to buy time to get and move into position to go ahead and birth. And so that's the reason why I speak that over us, that allow that whatever happened, that it allows us to buy time to go ahead and birth whatever it is that God is telling us to birth. Because if she would have sent the stuff earlier while she was at work, while she was not in position to push and move her stuff and get in position to get to where God had her to go, or so then it would have been a head-to-head confrontation, right? But a lot of times we're so hasty and we want to move and we want to tell people so quick, well, I got another place to stay, or I got a business, or I already got another job, and this, that, another. Not supposed to start. Let me bring it on home for some people. You give your 2 weeks notice on the job, right? And so, and then in after you did, because you already know you got another job lined up, but you give the 2 weeks notice because you can't start the other job into 2 weeks, right? But because you didn't popped off in the mouth the third day after you didn't gave your 2 weeks notice, now you didn't cause yourself to get fired, and now you a week in a hole without a whole check, and now you're struggling for a little while. Why? Because you could not contain your anger, you could not contain your mouth, you could not contain your frustration, and that's the reason why you have to move in silence. You have to learn to be quiet, even on that job. My mom had always told me, she said, you don't quit one job until you already have another one lined up, or so. And so that was the thing, was, hey, learn to be quiet in those tough situations. But we feel like we have to give everyone a piece of our mind. Once you have to learn to say, you know what, I'm going to let them do what they do, and I'm going to continue to be quiet, and I'm going to trust God, because the battle is not mine, says the Lord, right? Vengeance is not mine, says the Lord. And so a lot of times we want to go in and we want to tell them how we feel. We want to say, well, let me tell you this, you little snotty nose, da, 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 or whatever. Once he said, I need you to be quiet, because a lot of times, a lot of us, we want to be elevated in certain things. And once you get elevated, you have to learn how to keep your mouth shut. You have to learn how not to respond to the chaos. You have to learn how to remain calm in the chaos. You have to know how to remain calm once a situation is carrying you on. And so with that, I'm gonna give the mic on back to her, and we're gonna go ahead and close this thing out. So go ahead, Flipping.
Amen. Amen. And so verse 21 starts and it says, and because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. They had a heart posture towards God. They had a reverence towards God above and beyond what could happen to them because of choosing to move forward in the will of God rather than the will of the Egyptian king. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people. So now he's using his people. Every Hebrew boy that is born, you must throw into the Nile, but let every girl live. So when he could not stop there, he came up with another plan. And I'm gonna keep tight lip with this one. But because he could not stop on that level, he didn't stop. He still continued trying to move forward. But because God was able to use the midwives the way that he needed to use them to move forward his purpose, his plans, they were blessed. There's a scripture that I am reminded of. Why fear man who can destroy the body? Because I'm sure the Hebrew women had to be thinking, he could surely chop my head off for not being obedient. But I have to be obedient anyway. And I thought all kind of things. Even with me having to go to the hotel is way further from my job. I walk to and from work where I was living at. This where I have to stay at the hotels. I have to catch a lift every day. It's $15 one way. I have $30 a day I have to spend to get to and from work. But Lord, how will I do it? And God continued to multiply. The little that I had in my account became more than enough. I made it to and from work all week. I have the money to pay for next week. I have the money to even pay for my getting to and from work next week because God multiplied. My obedience brought forth multiplication because I am moving forward and birthing the things that God is calling me to birth, not just for me, but for the people who I am connected to. I remember that day when I called this, I said, and the lights gonna be off, and we got a recording to do on Saturday. I'll be at McDonald's if I gotta get up in the morning for us to record. Ain't nothing gonna stop giving birth to this ministry. Ain't nothing gonna stop it. I'm gonna get there. It's gonna happen. Today I'm sitting in the hotel room. That's my background. Ain't nothing gonna stop it. God is going to move forward and he can use me. I'm a trustworthy servant. I'm a man after God's own heart. God, I love you. I am faithful to your will, not my will, but your will be done. Regardless of what it looks like, regardless of the enemies that may surround me, if God calls me to it, I trust he's going to bring me through it. So regardless, not fearing man who can destroy the body, but trusting God who has control of my soul in spite of everything else. And that's how we moving around here. Go ahead, baby, wrap this thing up.
Listen, I just want to encourage you. Do not be used as a midwife for the wrong person. Do not be used as a midwife for the enemy to destroy something that God has told somebody else to birth by being reckless with your mouth. The midwives, they allowed them to birth. Whether they birthed it or they allowed the Hebrew women to birth it on their own, they did not get involved in such a way to where they was destroying the other people. And because they did not go in and be used by the enemy, but be used by the opposer, be used by the opponents or whatever to come in and kill those babies, to kill what was supposed to be in birth, he said the midwives feared God and he gave them families of their own. Other words, he gave them families of their own. So they was able to spread or whatever, and they was able to multiply because you did because you did not destroy somebody else's vision. I gave you a vision of your own. Because you did not destroy somebody else's business, I gave you a business of your own. Because you did not destroy somebody else's ministry, I gave you a ministry of your own. Because you did not destroy someone else's marriage, I gave you a marriage of your own. Because you did not destroy someone else's child, I gave you a child of your own. I gave you something to birth of your own. I gave you families he said families of their own. He didn't say a son. He said, I gave them families. He didn't say a daughter. He said, I gave them families. He multiplied what he gave them. And so that is what I want to instill into everyone today. Do not be a midwife for the wrong person and go in and try to kill somebody while they're in their birthing season, while they're pushing that you're going in and you're trying to strangle the child, or you're trying to do something to cause that baby to be stillborn or die in the process. Do what God has told you to do. Fear God over what you fear man, and allow them women and the people that God has placed upon you to birth what it is that he told you to birth. So as we get ready to close out this segment, I'm telling you, listen, because the midwives fear God, he gave them families of their own. He would give you a vision. He would give you a purpose. He has a destiny that is designed for you that can't nobody else walk, can't nobody else do. You have to be obedient to God. Do not try to destroy somebody else. How the old women used to say, once you dig one ditch, you might as well dig two. Do not dig a ditch for somebody else and you end up falling in it yourself. So I thank you. I thank you, Faith, for coming in and talking to us on today. I thank you for teaching. Yes, this was a awesome segment on today. And so I thank you. I thank you for coming in and just tuning in with us or so. And it was a blessing to be able to have her to come in and teach this with me today. We'll be doing more of these, and I hope you really enjoyed it. Listen, this was a phenomenal one. We're going to come back again next time. We're just going to go ahead and bring that chapter on over to Exodus 2 and talk about that as well. So I thank you. But before I get out of here, I do want to invite you. I do want to ask you to come team up with me. Come to the Prisoner of War in the Mind Conference, June 2nd, June 4th of 2023. We have an awesome panel of speakers. We have Miss Hilton. We have Prophetess Belle Harding. We have Apostle Dr. Glenn Allen, Apostle Dr. Deborah Allen. We have Bishop Sean Lewis. We have Minister Gregory Hadnot, Apostle Dr. Jackie Hadnot, and Coach Crystal Henry, Coach Shireen Reeves, and Minister Sophia Cannon as well. And our guest speaker is Prophetess Sophia Ruffin. We also have a special appearance by Tasha Page Lockhart that is going to be there. I know we have on here on the thing that's saying, hey, you can get the tickets at Eventbrite. But listen, if you go to on the website, Fervently Creations, you will be able to actually get tickets. You can pay through three ways. You can pay through PayPal, you can pay through credit card, or you can set up a payment plan. Use $50, reserve your seat, and then you can make split your payment up into two payments. So that is the other thing. Listen, we also have a few more slots that is available to those that want to be part of the anthology. I only have a few. So if you want to be part of it, please reach out to us. You can be part of the Prisoner of War in the Mind anthology. You get a chapter in the anthology, 15 to 2,000 words, editing of your chapter, promotion graphics. You also get group coaching, TV, radio show, guest opportunities, magazine opportunities. You can just write with best-selling authors. So listen, it's multiple practice available, and you actually have payment plans available. So I just thank you all again for tuning in. Listen, my team rep Jesus, and this is what this was about. You got a chance to see one of my my teams, one of my Jesus reps or whatever. And I just thank you so much for tuning in to the show with us.
My team rep Jesus. We about to go far. My team rep Jesus. My team go hard. My team rep Jesus. We about to go far. We about to